We have the colorful, beautiful and inspiring traditions in Africa that makes us stand out in the world at large. We also have the harmful, negative and dangerous ones. One of such tradition is female genital mutilation or cutting, FGM, which is wrongly called female circumcision. According to the World Health Organization, WHO, FGM is any partial or total removal of the external female genitalia or any other injury to the female genital organs for non-medical reasons. WHO classified FGM into 4 types. Type 1 is called clitoridectomy. This is the partial or total removal of the clitoris. In very rare cases, only the prepuce, the fold of the skin surrounding the clitoris, is removed. Type 2. This is the partial or total removal of the clitoris and the labia minora, with or without excision of the labia majora. Note: the labia are the lips surrounding the vagina. Type 3 is called infibulation. This is the most severe form. Besides removing the clitoris, part of the labia minora and majora, which is the inner and outer lip of the female genitalia, is cut or repositioned. The vagina opening or edges is sutured and a little orifice is left for the passage of urine and menstrual blood. Women who had infibulation carried out on them would have to be de-infibulated or cut open again in the future before pregnancy can be possible. Type 4 is called unclassified. It differs from one culture to the other. In some cultures, it involves stretching the labia minora, that is the inner lip. In other cultures, it may involve pricking, piercing, incising the clitoris and labia, stretching the clitoris and or even the labia, burning the clitoris and surrounding tissues, scraping off the tissue surrounding the opening of the vagina, using hot water to numb the clitoris, or massage.
There's nothing benign. When you hear massage, you think of a helpful procedure. But what that practice is all about is trying to find an alternative to cutting off the clitoris. So parents try to use the thumb, they apply Vaseline or petroleum jelly, apply hot water, mentholatum, and then try to push back the clitoris. So the purpose is to achieve the same purpose of cutting, but in this case there's no blood involved, although it's a very painful procedure.
So mo sọ pé bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni ó tún rí fún ẹlòmíì náà níta ti bá láyé tá ti nǹkan bàbá wa ń ṣe tá sì rí pé lójú tiwa náà níta bá ní àwọn ò mọ̀ pé bóyá dá o bóyá kò dá o nǹkan kan ló fà nǹkan kan ló bí kò yé àwa náà sá ń tẹ̀lé bí wọ́n ṣe gbé wa làwa náà ṣe ń tẹ̀lé ṣùgbọ́n tó yá la rí pé kìíní yóò dá lóòótọ́.
Female genital mutilation / cutting, it's a harmful device against women and against the girl child.
In Africa, over 3 million girls are estimated to be at risk of FGM annually. In Nigeria, according to the National Demographic Health Survey (NDHS) 2013 report, states with the highest prevalence include Osun with 76.6%, Ebonyi with 74.2%, Ekiti having 72.3%, Imo with 68% and Oyo having 65.6%. FGM is carried out on young girls between infancy and age 15 and occasionally on adult women. 27% of women between the ages of 15 to 49 have been cut. 82% of women in Nigeria undergo FGM before the age of 5. The prevalence of girls and women who have undergone FGM in Nigeria is 25%. It's the third highest absolute number of women and girls who have undergone FGM worldwide after Egypt and Ethiopia. 19.9 million Nigerian women have undergone FGM, more women having undergone FGM in the southern zones than in the northern zones. And surprisingly, 32% of urban women have undergone FGM, as compared with 19% rural women.
If you read literatures that are available, some people will tell you that they're cutting because the external female genitalia is dirty. So by cutting off some parts, you make it clean. Some will tell you that the clitoris will keep growing as long as a man's penis, so it's important to cut it so that you won't have a problem with knowing who is the man in the house. Some will tell you that if the head of a baby touches the clitoris when the child is being born, that the child will die. Some even erroneously believe that it actually aids childbirth. Because they are cutting off some part of the body, they feel that when the child will be born, then the child will come out easily. What they don't understand is that when you cut, you have scar tissue, and scar tissue does not stretch. So if the woman has to deliver, the scar will break and there will be excessive bleeding. Secondly, if the person has the kind of skin that forms keloids, then they will also form keloids, meaning that during a childbirth, the keloids will stretch. It will not lead to episiotomy, which is cutting. And now if it is done by someone who is not a trained medical personnel, if they cut too high up, they can cut into the urethra and it will lead to VVF. If they cut down and they go too deep, they can cut the rectum and it will lead to RVF, meaning that the woman will either be leaking urine or leaking feces.
Due to a community dialogue in Osun State, participants found it depressing to even watch a video clip of a baby being cut. Hence, they, through their stakeholders, made commitments to end female genital mutilation.
No girl goes through mutilation without shedding tears. So there's no way I can, or anybody in your widest zone, who say there is an advantage to something that on its own, the word alone, goes to show that it is bad and incurably bad.
The summary, based on my experience, is that it is done, one, to control women's sexuality, two, to also control reproduction. But if you ask the average person in the community, they will tell you that they're doing it because it's their culture and they want to preserve it. The second reason that will come is because if you don't do it, the woman will become promiscuous.
They say it makes her more marriageable, that she won't get pregnant. But they forget that the mutilated woman, the mutilated girl, if she becomes sexually active, will hardly ever achieve sexual satisfaction. She will subsequently end up with multiple sexual partners, exposing her to the risk of sexually transmitted infections, including HIV. Other infections will lead to the blockage of her fallopian tube. By the time she eventually gets married, infertility becomes a concern, childlessness becomes a challenge, marital separation and divorce because of childlessness becomes an issue. So, which angle do you want to look at it? That you will say that this is one beneficial thing you can get from it.
But unfortunately, the cutting is not reversible. If you have removed the labia majora, minora and all that, you cannot put it back.
Some immediate effects of FGM include severe pain, serious bleeding or hemorrhage, infection on the wound or vaginal infection, trauma, problems urinating, urinary tract infection, tetanus and other infectious diseases such as HIV from unsterilized cutting tools, and lastly, death. Other long-term effects include severe pain during sexual intercourse, depression and anxiety, painful and prolonged menstrual periods, prolonged labor and other complications during delivery, urinary problems, Vesical vaginal fistula, VVF, or rectal vaginal fistula, RVF.
I became more worried when I looked at 412 VVF patients that we had operated here. We just looked at a cohort of 412 patients and discovered that about 90% of those VVF patients had suffered one form of female genital mutilation or the other.
So in some cases, a mutilated child may bleed to death. But sometimes even when that happens, it may not be attributed to FGMC. The complications are not something that can be easily seen. Some is a long-term complication that happens when the child has grown into a woman, has gotten married, and maybe having problems with the husbands in terms of sexual relationship. And even with that, it is hardly attributed to what was done to her as a baby.
So this girl attained puberty and started menstruating, and because the whole road was blocked, the menstruum was being retained. And so she was having cyclical pain. Then she was now appearing as a bulge. As the blood was accumulating there, it was now appearing as a bulge, and the mother felt the child was pregnant. And I remember in one of those cases, the child was subjected to severe beating, with all manner of insults on the child who has brought shame and disgrace. She's pregnant, this, that. The child wasn't pregnant. The menstruum just wasn't coming out because of what you guys had done.
The origin of FGM is unknown, and it predates Christianity or Islam.
Nowhere in the Bible did it include women in the circumcision, and it never happened.
We of the religious group should be on our duty to make sure that we educate our followers, the members of our congregation, that female genital mutilation and cutting is never part of religious demand. So nothing of such in Islam, and there's nothing of such that should be practiced by the Muslims.
Tọ́lá gbọ́ nù wípé àwọn Ìjẹ̀bú wọn ìdábẹ́ fọ́mọ wọn àwọn náà sì ń bímọ wọn ìjàgàn ṣùgbọ́n táwa ti bá nílẹ̀ Yorùbá àṣà Yorùbá òun làwọn tẹ̀lé.
I am 84 years old now, and it's not one of our customs, and we've never done it. As far as the Ijebu land is concerned, for the woman, it's not healthy. And God has created the parts of the body for special purposes, and you cannot come and deform, because I think it's a form of deformity to tamper with part of the creation. You don't remove the womb because a woman is having too many children. No.
So I married without any man except my husband. So beside the urge, I controlled myself. Now that I'm married, I had 4 kids. I delivered them safely. My labor doesn't last up to 1 hour. People don't notice that I am having labor. I will just deliver without any problem. So these are the benefits of not being caught. So I thank God so much that my mother especially did not give me any cut in the name of female genital mutilation.
The good news is that social norms do change when circumstances surrounding them change, just like the killing of twins that was stopped decades ago. Young advocates are now standing against FGM in Nigeria. Stakeholders are stepping up their efforts to end FGMC in this generation.
And I'm representing the body that used to circumcise. We have resolved that we are no longer doing it again.
If you realize that this your daughter, you may likely lose her in the prime of her age when she's about to be delivered of a child, then you are likely to hold back.
Some of them will even do it without their husbands knowing. We realize that the men sometimes do not know what these women do for their children. And this innocent child will not believe that your mother can hurt you. But then here goes the myth. The myth encourages the mother to protect her child so that she will not be wayward. At the end, you will not know that you are killing your child.
So the men are cut off from the practice. The women believe they are doing it for the men. and the practice continues. So normally when we bring the men and women together, the men are shocked that the practice is going on. And the women are also shocked that the men are not even in support of it. So it's important for dialogue so that both parties will hear from each other and reach a consensus that is not in our best interest.
My stand on female genital mutilation, FGM, is that it should be eliminated. It's just a custom, a culture that we inherited, and nobody asks any question. So when you don't ask any question, when a bad thing is being done, you accept it now as a custom. It's good. You don't ask any question, there's no answers, there is no solutions. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm yet to be convinced that there is any justification, for such a practice.
Most times we don't like to talk about it, that it is the right of the woman and the right of the girl child to remain the way God has created them. It is their fundamental human right, and nobody has the right to violate that on the basis of culture, religion, or whatever opinion that person has. That's the first message you should get across. People need to think of it from that perspective. When you do that, you will now see the person you're cutting as first and foremost a human being who has not asked to be subjected to that degrading and inhuman practice.
In 2015, Nigeria passed into law the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, which clearly prohibits the practice of female genital mutilation. But that is a federal law that has to be domesticated at the state level for it to be enforced. But that is not to say that there are no states with laws prohibiting the practice of FGM. Where we have states that have put in place laws prohibiting the practice, implementation of that law is still a problem. There is general lack of awareness, one, on the law itself, and then the provisions of the law.
All those beliefs about giving birth easily and stopping promiscuity are false reasons that were given to them for them to support this practice. The moment the women stand behind this campaign, nothing will stop us from succeeding.
For so far, we have about 70-something communities in the states that we work that have declared an abandonment for FGM. We have commitment from the traditional rulers in Ebonyi, in Imo, in all the states that we work for. We have also a lot of evidence to show that they have committed to ending FGMs.
One, there is open discussion about the practice of FGM. Before now, it's a practice that people just don't talk about because it involves the part of an anatomy that people are not comfortable talking about, the female genital parts. So, but with constant dialogue with community members, with constant dialogue with healthcare providers, with constant dialogue with traditional and community leaders, people are now becoming aware that indeed this practice that they thought was positive for the protection of the girl child is actually harmful, and now they are beginning to have a rethink. We have communities that have declared total abandonment of the practice, So I think this is a remarkable achievement in the 3 years of implementing the program at the moment. But we're not there yet. It's still work in progress.
It takes the consistent and committed effort of everyone to insist that education is more important and not mutilation. We must not rest until female genital mutilation and cutting becomes a thing of the past, never to be revisited again. Together, we can and will end female genital mutilation and cutting in this generation.